All right. Started off in that direction. That's fine. Okay, I turned it around. Okay, what I'm doing, I know I've shown this before, but I get such a kick out of this, especially on a day like today. Look at this. This is a perfectly blue sky. Couple of streaks over there, but that's about it. Air smells good. Warm. It's got to be 60. Beautiful, beautiful day. So I am doing something here that I know I've shown you this a bunch of times, but every time I do this, I get such a bang out of it. And this year I'm going to be doing something a little bit different, and it's pretty exciting to me. So what I just did, I came in, this is a pig field, so I've had 10 Mangalitas on here for, since about December, I guess I put them in on here. And there was some growth in here, and they took it down to nothing. They've taken every blade of grass. You can see how much they've worked this around the edges. There's a single wire right there. That's the primary. That's what keeps them in. The woven wire is a secondary. If they get close to the woven wire, I know I got a problem with the electric. But what you're seeing here is ground that they've been on for a few months, and you can see all those Tootsie Rolls sitting on top of the ground. This soil is really nice and dark stuff. They've dug down and taken all the roots out of it. Anything that grew, they got it. And they're being fed on here too. So it's not their only source of food. It's just a little bit. But what I'm going to do here is I've got the tiller on the tractor. I just moved that hut in here. That's a really heavy hut. I have two of them. And this is the only place where I grow pigs out. And this is only 100 by 300 long. So it's not really that big. Now I've only got 10 in here right now. I could have more than that if I wanted to. But that's all I really need to do. So when I came out, I took a handful of this soil up, and I'm feeling like I want to put some wood chips out here before I till it down. And I think that will kind of balance it out. It doesn't smell, but it doesn't smell right. It doesn't smell like the forest floor. You know, it's a little on the sour side, but not bad. You know, I suppose the biological life that's in the soil would take care of that. But I'm just gonna stack the deck a little bit. I'm gonna bring out 5 or 6 bucket loads of wood chips and spread them out, and then I'm gonna till it in. So in effect, what I'm doing is I'm putting feed out for the microbiological life in here, and it's in those Tootsie Rolls. You know, it comes out of their system. So they deposit it down, and now I'm going to put it down where it's kind of warm in the top layer of soil. I'm going to turn it under, and then I've got some plans to plant on here, some things that I've never planted out here before, and I think it's going to be kind of interesting. So last year at Seed Savers, Jordan Buck gave me about 12 Jerusalem artichoke plants. That's unnecessary. About 12 Jerusalem artichoke plants. And I planted them up there by the butcher shop. And I just spaced them out, and boy, did they take off. Those things got to be about 14 feet high. They had stalks on them this big around, and I didn't do anything. I just watched them grow. So what they did was they created a lot more seed, and I'll show you those. So my plan is to till this all down, put some nutrient in it. I've got some other stuff that I want to put in it too, and then plant those. And I'm also going to plant Reed's canary grass. And I've got kind of a history with Reed's canary grass, and some of it's not good. But this is the new stuff. And the new stuff, we're not going to have problems with it. And I'm sure of that because I've looked into it quite a bit. So I'm going to space out the Jerusalem artichokes. So I'm expecting, midsummer for there to just be a plume of what I would just call it forage, because these guys, the Mangalita, they will eat anything. Like if I put a bale of straw in here, they will eat it, and they'll turn it into good quality stuff. If you haven't seen the mangas, I know this is new to some people. These guys have been in the country for about like 20 years now. And people have started with them and then stopped. We've had them consistently and really like them. If you know how to manage them, they work out pretty good. Pretty easy. They like to dig, and digging is a good thing. This field had a remnant on it. They've been in here for about 24 hours now. Had a remnant on it from what was left last year after we took them off. You can see those tufts there are, that's rye. So a single rye seed will make a tuft like that. And those tufts were up about 4 feet, but they knocked them down in 24 hours to eat it. And they'll go through and they'll weed out all this stuff and just eat it. We do feed them, they are getting their feed on here, but they're getting a nice rounded out ration because of all the forage that's in here. But when this is grown up and really cranking, then I'll turn them back in here, and they'll be set for food for quite a while, because they don't get processed until starting November. So they've got a whole summer to party, and we're going to do everything we can to plump them up. I'd like them to be about 400 pounds when we knock them down. So then you're talking about 4,000 pounds of animal that has to go through the butcher shop. So that's enough for us. We're just a seasonal outfit. So that, and then we finish with pork, and then like December 1st we'll start running the first steer through. This year we're only going to have 4 because I lost 2 to Reed's canary grass, and that's a whole story. But as soon as I get this rototilled, I'll show it to you, because it's gonna look really nice. The rototilling thing, there's a lot of controversy around that, because you break up the network in the soil, and I understand that. In this case, though, it works for me because I'm able to flatten out the field, which isn't really necessary, but I do want that manure under the soil, because if it sits out here in the sun, we're going to have a really sunny week and warm, then a lot of the bacteria and other microorganisms that's in the manure will deteriorate. So I want to get it under before that happens, and then also give it some food so it can really take off. Yeah, things are really cranking here. I've got bird houses all around this, and the swallows come in the spring. And just a couple days ago, we noticed, oh, here they are. And so they do a good job of flying around over the top of it and harvesting out all the bugs. It's pretty nice. It's a nice little situation. And then just to the south is where the sheep are. That's Frank's project. And they're doing good. They got plenty of grass to keep them busy. And then my beef cows, well, I could show you the beef cows. They're down there by the pond. Let's see if I can zone this in. Nah. Oh, yeah. They're down there. There's only 4 of them right now. And there's 3 more that are getting added to them any day now. Just our steers from the milk cow herd. So there'll be 7 of them down there for the summer. 7, 8, 9 actually. There'll be 9. 2 2 of them are pretty small, so we're going to keep them up here so we can keep an eye on them. And then they have the pond to drink out of. They also have a drinking basin over there if the pond gets problematic. Last year, I'll share this because it cost me. Last year, the pond, it does get stagnant in the summertime. There's a spring that goes to it, but it's just a trickle. And so the pond got stagnant. The cows, when they're drinking out of it, they manure into it. And it got a film over the top that was greenish blue. If you ever see that, danger, danger. And I saw it, but I didn't listen to myself. I didn't listen to the spirit in me that was saying something's wrong here. I didn't listen to it. And I went down there one day, and there was one of the beef. She was a cow. We got her as a calf, and she wound up getting impregnated by the bull that we used to have. And I went down there, and she was on her side, all bloated up, dead. And we didn't know what happened, you know? Who knows what happened? And then it just so happens we had some friends over, and I shared that story, and she said, the wife said something about green, blue algae. And I said, well, we have that on the pond. And she says, oh, that's deadly. So immediately I took a trough down there and filled it, and the rest of them went right to it. So they didn't want to drink out of it. They didn't want to, but the cow, because she had a calf on her, she was forced to. Her body just took over, and she drank out of it, and it killed her. So I still have the calf down there, and he's going to go through the butcher shop next year, so he might be a little small in December. We'll see. We'll see. All right, that's what's happening here today. Remember, anyone can farm. Get out there and make it happen.